Hello, fellow Earthlings. Oscilloscope is in the house, transmitting good vibes on all frequencies. In my last video, I survived 200 ultra-hardcore days locked inside a Badlands biome surrounded by a world border.
It was actually 192 days.
But who's counting? It was really freaking hard. The Grim Reaper was not far behind me the entire time. Nonetheless, I came out looking peachy in the end.
I still walked out of DC looking peachy.
I had an awesome base, my gear was looking fresh as hell, and healing was no longer an issue. The challenge was gone. So I decided it was time to spice up by getting rid of the world border and seeing if I could get myself killed by doing every bit of the hardest content Minecraft had to offer.
We're in the endgame now.
I was going to try things I have never tried before. That meant single cycling the Ender Dragon with beds, facing not one but two withers at once in the open, and even going toe-to-toe with the Warden.
I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
As a bonus, I was going to visit a Woodland Mansion and an ocean monument. There's a lot to do, so without further ado, let's get into it. I needed ender pearls and blaze powder to craft Eyes of Ender. What I already had in my storage was not nearly enough to make it to the end, so I went into the nether once again to stock up.
This should be easy, right?
That is wrong.
The trouble started right away. A stray zombie pushed me out of the exposed part of the nether portal. Of course, as a seasoned Minecraft vet, I immediately panicked.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
This led to a nice and relaxing dip into the local lava pool.
The key to surviving the lava encounters is to carry a fire resistance potion. If that fails, you pray that you can climb out.
After dropping down to a single heart, I ate a golden apple to be safe. When I ascended back up to the fortress, I was surprised to see a horde of zombies just hanging out. Seriously, what are they doing here?
Tailgating?
Alright class, welcome back to Tailgating 101. I hope everybody enjoyed the bye week.
All I wanted to do was to trade for some pearls. Finally, I made it back to my trading station.
However, I learned something new that day. Piglings will attack on sight if you open an ender chest. What the hell, bro?
After peace negotiation fell through, I only saw one way out.
You did this to yourself.
Luckily, I still managed to score 7 ender pearls before my pigling's premature demise.
Next, I returned to my base.
And after scouring my storage, found another 7 pearls. With that, I had enough blaze powder to make 13 Eyes of Ender. It felt like enough to start the search. I started my stronghold search, but local terrain proved to be challenging with lots of climbing.
This is up, up, this is up, up, and this is down. This is down. This is up, up, this is up, up, and this is down. This is down.
Slow and steady. I found the spot where the eye dipped into the ground and started my descent. On the way down, I saw a potential shortcut. What could go wrong? After peeling myself off the floor, I found myself in a big and scary cave. I had to throw a few more eyes to get my bearings. Shortly, I found a spot where the eye once again sunk down and started digging. To my relief, I found the stronghold relatively easy. However, my celebration was entirely premature. What followed was one of the most agonizing searches for the end portal I have ever done. I began my search on day 195.
The next day.
I was looking for the portal.
2 days later.
I was still looking for the portal.
3 days later.
You guessed it, still looking. I was desperate enough to start using my remaining eyes. They always point to the starting stairs of the stronghold. I was quickly burning through my stash with no real payout. I used my last eye and it floated up into the deep slate. I was at the starting stairs, but I have been here before.
Sure feels like I am walking in circles.
I took a break to do some research, only to learn that strongholds can generate with hidden rooms. After breaking a few walls,
I finally found the secret room that led to the end portal.
Thank fucking God! Yeah!
being completely out of Eyes of Ender, I had to make a trek back to my dwelling. If only I brought flint and steel to light the portal. Fortunately, I learned of a new way to do just that. A few wooden planks plus lava equal a lit nether portal. A few minutes later, I linked up with my main nether highway.
Unfortunately, I had no gold left to trade.
and it was way easier to hit up warp forests instead. Now, it was just a matter of finding Enderman and showing them who's boss. Spoiler alert, it's me.
So you're in charge around here, is that fair to say? Absolutely, I'm the boss.
I started to experiment with how far I could provoke an Enderman. Pretty far, apparently, but definitely not this far, right? He mad. A few more pearls, and I had enough to head back, but not before making a pit stop at the fortress for more blaze rods. This time around, I brought a fire-resistant potion. Now, it was just a matter of picking on the defenseless blazes. I had all the necessary components for the final preparation. I crafted 16 Eyes of Ender and a few more golden apples. For the main event, I crafted enough beds to fill up an ender chest. Of course, I didn't forget to craft some rockets for the elytra. Finally, potions of slow falling were a must. I piled my shiny new toys into inventory and was officially ready to obliterate the dragon. So I hopped into the nether, made it back to the stronghold, and fired up the end portal.
Fun fact of the day.
There's only 28% chance to have 0 eyes slotted in the portal. During the final check, I realized all my beds were inside the ender chest, and the ender chest, you guessed it, was back at the base.
I keep having this nagging feeling that I've forgotten something.
Hey, if you forgot it, it probably wasn't all that important.
Yeah, I guess.
A little anticlimactic, but I had to double back home. So I ran back to the base, grabbed the ender chest, and ran back to the stronghold portal. However, straight up, the game decided to troll me. The nether portal somehow unlinked from the stronghold and spit me out in a random cave.
You are not in Kansas anymore.
You're in a bullshit cave.
This meant I had to destroy the portal and set out on yet another voyage. It was a lengthy and frustrating detour. I should have been killing the dragon by now. Eventually, I made it back and was finally ready to give it to the dragon. Here we go. For the record, I did not practice the best strategy at all before going in. I figured, worst case scenario, I would kill the dragon the conventional way. I have watched a few speedruns before. I felt qualified. What could go wrong?
Everything, man. Everything.
It goes something like this. Place obsidian on the dragon perch in the middle and run away. This will often trigger the dragon to land. And sure enough, he started to descend. Unfortunately, I timed it wrong, and the dragon fully landed by the time I made it to the center. You must prevent it from landing, or this method does not work. This meant I had to wait for it to fly away and try again.
Round 2. Fight.
I was looking for a swift change in flight direction, like this.
Then you wait for it to start landing.
Then you chain explode beds into the dragon's face. Is it working?
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
I think it's working.
Triple exclamation mark.
X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to ya. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to ya.
First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop. Go let it go.
OMG, it's working. Oh my god, how easy was that? Why did I ever bother killing him any other way?
Don't know.
Anyway, it was time to procure an elytra. I went through yet another portal. This game sure loves its portals.
Anyway, this cake is great. It's so delicious and moist.
I had my fingers crossed for an end ship at the spawn. No such luck this time around. This meant bridging in a random direction for a few thousand blocks. This is not for the faint of heart, especially when the game fails to render blocks in a timely manner.
Later, in the void.
Slow and steady wins the race though. It took some time, but I found an end city and an end ship. Now, it was just a matter of boarding the ship, killing a few shulkers, and grabbing an elytra.
Oh dear.
Of course, never forget to grab the dragon head. Or not. Next on the list were shulker shells. So I killed every shulker I could find and proceeded to retrace my steps back to the exit portal. Elytra plus rockets made the return a breeze. On the way out, I decided to perform a reckless experiment. I wanted to see if I could grab an end crystal with a silk touch pick.
I don't know what I expected.
Maybe I should have researched that beforehand. I didn't get the dragon's head, but at least I got an egg. I went through the portal and the game spit me out at the original spawn. Unfortunately, that was a few thousand blocks away from my base. Luckily, elytra made short work of that distance. I put up a few banners to commemorate my exploits, deposited the egg on a golden block as my first trophy, and crafted 6 shulker boxes. The dragon chapter was officially closed. It was time for the next endgame challenge.
GG go next.
I had an elytra now, great. but elytra is only as good as the number of rockets you have, and I didn't have that many. I needed a stopgap measure for the time being. First, I needed a source of paper, so I came out at night to gather sugarcane by a nearby beach. Unfortunately, I was not watching my cornhole, and a creeper almost ended my run.
That was a close one.
It was getting spooky, so I decided to come back the next morning to grab the sand. I chose to plant it directly in my base. After all, I had a lot of extra space. My elytra was getting a little beat up, so it was time to enchant it with unbreaking and mending. At night, I was busy decimating the local creeper population for gunpowder. Also, to quench my thirst for golden apples, I was frequently mining for gold. Gold generates high up in Badlands, so it wasn't too hard to find. Raw apples were also a supply bottleneck, but one that was easily solvable. I used good old overpowered villager trading. All I had to do was to level a farmer to level 2, and bam, virtually limitless apple supply. Just like that, I crafted 10 more golden apples. I will eventually have massive automated farms for all these materials in my world, but today I had bigger fish to fry. Next, I needed a cartographer. A villager somehow stuck upstairs would have to do. Sorry buddy, but you need to get down there. Slow and steady, I leveled him to max level and got access to Woodland and Ocean Explorer maps. This of course would lead me to the Woodland Mansion and Ocean Temple respectively. I set my eyes on a Woodland Mansion first. It was a place to procure totems of Undyne, which of course is a good idea in any hardcore setting. So I crafted a stack of rockets and off I went. Something doesn't seem right here. Beats me.
How is this guy still alive?
Take 2. And there it was, in all its glory. It was time to break into the mansion. Vindicators rushed towards me to give me a warm welcome and pat on the back with their axes. Regular darkness mobs were also staple residents in these dark halls. I finally found my first evoker surrounded by a bunch of Vexes. These flying pests were a big-time menace. My health pool was struggling at times, so golden apples sure came in handy. I got my first totem of Undyne. I found a second evoker and quickly disposed of him, and that meant a second totem. Emboldened by my new power, I felt a little more ballsy and was pushing my limits. I could have easily lost the totem already, and losing it without leaving the mansion would have been
Very, very sad day.
Navigating creeper encounters without a shield was a bit awkward. Years of conditioning were hard to break. I fully cleared the entire mansion and only found 2 evokers. Considering up to 5 can spawn, that seemed on the low side. But there was one more reason to be here. Allays. I didn't have any plans or use for them, but might as well bring them back just in case. Reddit falsely informed me that you could transport them through the nether, but after spending time building portals, I realized that wasn't the case. They were also way slower than an elytra, so I had to bring them back the old-fashioned way, on foot.
Hi-ho, it's home to work we go.
It was a long run, but through the power of editing, I was home. Allays didn't seem capable of using a water elevator, so I made them a special hole in my base. I wasn't sure if they would despawn, so I tagged them just in case. Woodland Mansion complete. Next, challenge. Next, I set my sights on an ocean monument, and that required a bit more setup. First, I needed potions of water breathing, since monuments are fully submerged. Another very important aspect was raw milk.
Got milk?
Milk can be used to cleanse debuffs, and there was a nasty one inside, called mining fatigue. I equipped an Ocean Explorer map and set off to find the monument. On the way there, my game was struggling to keep up and lagged so hard that I experienced time dilation.
Alright, let's get started before my headache gets any worse.
There it was, in all its glory. From my prior experience, I knew the easiest way in. I went through the top and found the first Elder Guardian chillin' in the quarters. A few golden apples later, he was dead. He didn't even have time to curse me with the mining fatigue. It was also time to drink a water-breathing potion. I finally got cursed with fatigue. This debuff makes you mine exceedingly slow. Coupled with ever respawning, extremely aggressive ranged mobs, mining inside the monument is not an option. It was time to find the other 2 Elder Guardians. There you are. Come here, kitty. I did not bother to wait out his thorns and just laid into him. My underwater navigation was on point that day, and I found the last Elder Guardian soon after. They really posed no threat to me with my current gear and copious amounts of golden apples. Now that the Elder Guardians were deceased, I could finally drink milk to cleanse my mining fatigue. Of course, that also purges any positive buffs, and I had to reapply a water-breathing potion afterwards. Next, on the to-do list was finding the sponge room, if there was one at all. Before any of that, I helped myself to all the gold blocks from the central room, and there it was, the sponge room. I was pleased. It is not uncommon for temples to generate with none. This ocean monument run went absolutely swimmingly.
See what I did there?
With no other treasures to be had, it was time to go home. Ocean monument done.
Next meme.
My next challenge was a face-off against Stu Withers. I have never fought one in the open, much less two at once. Of course, that meant farming
6 Wither skulls.
Let me save you some time. Skull number 1, acquired. Skull number 2, in the bag. It's all fun and games until you accidentally hit a zombie piglin and he calls up his crew. This is what we call a creative use of the environment. Anyway, skull number 3, in the books. If you watched my last video, you know how much I struggled to get a gas tier, but there it finally was.
Yes!
A cluster of a fight with low visibility led to another butt-clenching zombie piglin shindig. I sure wasn't making any friends down here. Seemingly not learning my lesson, I once again angered the zombie piglin squad. Third time the charm, right? Finally, skull number 4, accounted for. See what I did there? Next, I got myself in a real pickle. And this is why you carry totems of Undying. My senior citizen reaction times would have spelled doom otherwise. It was sad to lose my hard-earned totem, but better than losing my hardcore world. I just wish these zombie piglins would leave me the f*** alone. Anyway, skull number 5, old news. And last but not least, skull number 6.
It's in the game.
Now, a bit of prep work commenced. I made potions of regeneration with gas tier, then I grabbed my beacon and moved it to a relatively flat area away from my base. I set it to damage resistance. Then I prepared 2 wither husks with soul sand and drank a regeneration potion. Finally, I pre-potted a golden apple, swapped my elytra for real armor, placed remaining skulls on the husks, and crossed my fingers. Here goes nothing.
The universe is mine to command, to control!
They behaved completely differently from the videos I watched. I thought that they would just fly frantically all over the place. Instead, they were on my ass like heat-seeking missiles. I tried shaking them off, but eventually they threw me down a pit. Unable to escape, I felt panicked and thought that this could be a complete disaster. Surprisingly, it worked to my advantage. Between the cover that the sand provided and my golden apples, I was managing to tank the damage just fine. Eventually, I triggered the second form of one of the withers and smashed him in the face. Then, I shot down the second wither and melted him as well.
His brains out!
Easy peasy, and I didn't even lose a totem. This went way better than expected. Now, I had 2 more nether stars for 2 more beacons down the line. Next, there was only one thing left on the list. The big, the bad, the Warden. This was a fight with the most unknowns and the biggest possibility of utter failure. There was a lot of prep I needed to do to ensure I even had a chance. First things first, I went to a local beach to acquire turtle eggs. I brought them home and planted them in a makeshift turtle hatchery. Next, I brewed 6 potions of night vision with golden carrots, absolutely essential for deep dark. My turtles started to hatch, so I gave them seagrass to expedite their growth. Once they mature, they drop a scute. 5 of those combine into a turtle shell. That would allow me to craft turtle master potions. I bred even more turtles just in case.
Is he okay?
Next, I made one of the biggest blunders of this challenge. I went to do a gold run to a local cave and lost my last totem of Undying. Good thing I didn't lose my life. I really should have just called off the Warden fight until I could get more totems, but I was naive and determined. One of us was going down.
Not.
So I fed my newly hatched turtles, grabbed my last couple of scutes, crafted a turtle shell, and used it to brew turtle master potions. I tossed my possessions into a shulker box and took flight, perhaps for the last time, towards the deep dark biome I spotted in my last video. And there it was, an ancient city. Then it was just a matter of setting up the beacon. My strategy was to set a beacon for haste, drink a night vision potion, a regeneration potion, a strength potion, preemptively eat a golden apple, and summon the big cheese. Then I climb on a pillar, drink a potion of a turtle master, then pelt him with arrows from a safe distance while he tickles me with his ranged attacks. Okay, that was not part of the plan. Panic.
Panic.
You ain't afraid of no man.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man.
I got knocked down and started wildly swinging at the Warden. My hardcore life flashed before my eyes. What happened next was a cloudy haze of button mashing, but looking at the replay, the only thing that saved me from getting annihilated was getting bumped into a little nuke. This confused Warden's pathfinding and gave me ample breathing room to eat a golden apple and to reapply Turtle Master Potion, which was running out by then. I kept wildly swinging, sometimes at the air, sometimes at the Warden. Had I fallen into an open space, he would undoubtedly polarize me. Somehow, I emerged victorious.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
I should really play a lottery one of these days. Unfortunately, I immediately summoned another Warden. One near-death experience was more than enough for me, and I barely had time to swap into an Elytra and escape. Once the Warden got tired of pursuing me, I went back down to look for a Swift Sneak book in the ancient city. And there it was, Swift Sneak 3. A nice reward for all my unnecessary effort. I packed up my beacon and gracefully rocketed out of the dungeon via a one-block hole I made for the beacon. I do love me an Elytra. I spent the next 6 days at my spider farm, AFKing mostly. I had a lot of gear to repair. My AFK farm was embarrassingly slow, but that's okay. My next project is to build something much faster. Finally, I slapped Swift Sneak on my pants and tried it out. It made a massive speed difference while crouching, which is going to be invaluable for speed building down the road. I wrapped up this playthrough by rescuing a few allies. They all somehow managed to escape my base and fly away. So I trapped them in my base, organized my inventory for a clean slate, and called a successful endgame run. This is it, guys. Once again, I successfully completed everything I set out to do, but I have no idea how I did it. I really should have died in this world by now. If you're still here, I love you. Don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff. This world is my permanent Minecraft world that I intend to develop for a long time, so tune in to check on the progress in the future. But for now, a Still Escape is beaming out.